because they're the stronger party, they're the majority. So I put here majority, and they're the stronger. And at the same time, they said I was as weak as poop. So if I'm as weak as poop, they're as strong as hell. So it's hell on earth based on fiction. I feel like my daughter is missing. I feel like she is the living dead zombie now. Devoted her entire life to studying how to be an atheist, how to be the same as her dad, how to be a false single person by having an open, casual relationship, sex without any commitment. It's a living arrangement, and even if it is a living arrangement, it's against God because she doesn't accept God. So it's a false signal individual who has a living arrangement. So you're not really independent, you're not really single when you're having an open sex casual relationship from 1 year or every 4 years. This is the secular, non-religious type of society and how they make their progress. Now, my daughter's not responsible. I am the one who's responsible, and yet my parental rights are removed and my responsibility is removed. And they look for ways to incriminate me for them removing my human rights. So it's now my fault that they have removed my human rights because I can't afford a human rights solicitor and a lawyer. So it's now my fault. Also, I will remember and not forget. So this is the same as September 11th. My birthday is very similar to September 11th because it was an organised crime. It was paid for. It was purchased. No one had apologised. No one had taken the responsibility. Everybody was included in this crime for September 11th. Not excluded. So they were not outsiders. It was an inside job through a corrupt government. They make it look like an accident or a habit. And that's how they check themselves as a corrupt government. So the death or the incident of crime is an accident or it is a bad habit. It wasn't created by the government. So they have these facilities to attack and make war, crime wars, and arrive at a different time when it's unexpected as human gods, to create a crisis, war, and civil unrest. They can arrive at any unexpected time. So all is included as an outsider, while the corruption is an inside job. So they're the insider. It's like saying, I'm going to have the host versus the hostage where the roles swap. So it's no longer me who lives in my home, it's the enemy who has this home. It's not my flat, it's not my accommodation, it's not my home. And I actually recorded a separate video of me talking to my housing association who had attempted to say that my home is not my home, it's their property because they own it. I actually recorded that conversation. I may publicise it next week. So the day after my birthday, which is a Friday, I plan to remove all my rubbish as much as I can. It's extremely difficult. And it's not my area, it's not my fault. I didn't know I was going to deteriorate my spine. and that I was going to be stuck in a flat. I am doing everything I can to try and resolve this problem, including asking Citizens Advice Bureau to do an inside job where they can make an appeal and reinstate my services, and also support me to spot a suitable accommodations and have my options. So I have a suitable accommodation which is not going to be a flat, so that I can reinstate my free services. So other disabled people are getting the services living in a house for rubbish clearance, not me living in a flat. So this is a new law that had been implemented to suit my persecutors, to suit those who are attacking me, including my neighbours. So they've caused this. They're the cause of this, making it an unfair and unequal society for those who are unemployed and crippled. So it's about the workforce. It's about the workers. It's not about the disabled, the children, and the elderly. We are retarded, retired, useless. And the corrupt government will introduce anything that they could do to ensure that we are stuck. We're a stuck retard in poverty. So if I was rich and if I had people who could support me, I would not be stuck and I would not be a retard, and I could be used in the right way, not in the wrong way. So they've destroyed everything. They've destroyed nature. They've destroyed resources. They've destroyed the poor people. They've destroyed the home of a mother and called themselves mother effing FFs. They've reproduced and had children for the devil, not for God. Most of them, the majority of them, have rejected the challenge from God and the saints. And none of them could be called individuals, because they are a groupthink. So they're not individuals. They're not independent. To me, they're the same as an alien. So to me, they're the same as an alien, because they're saying that couples and families are more important compared to the actual independent individuals. That's what they're saying. That is the core of what a corrupt government is. They are a groupthink. They hate individuals with overwhelming actual factual evidence. So that's how I conclude my video about who is the corruption. It's anyone who does groupthink. They hate individuals and they hate independence. So that's who they are. They're the betrayers and the destroyers of the freedoms of Christ. So I have produced this new hope for a system that scrutinizes the snowman system. That scrutiny. What makes the system? In other words, what makes the snowman? What makes the snowman? Question mark. What makes the system? By digging deeper to First of all, look at the foundations of what makes the system of that snowman. Two types of sinners, which I have said. Similar to hippopotamus animal versus the rhinoceros animal. The hippo versus the rhino, who are both sinners. Both have a case of sin and rebellion against God and the saints. Both assume that they are perfect, completely creating the old tyrannical ways versus God as bad angels, compared to the good angels who are creating a completely new way forward, which is opposite from tyrants and typical common tyrant, narcissist, lunatic, maniac. One does not need to have a textbook, filing cupboard, or a book. One needs to have more and more individuals making and designing their own small businesses, small governments that are going to deter, detect, and detect. And the small government is going to look at the big government we call the globalists to produce a new snowman system. In other words, what makes a tyrant? What makes the snowman? The sin, which is a stubborn and rebellion tyrant. So sin is stubborn and rebellious tyrant, which is the same as a punk. So, like I have said, now I'm going to close this video in closing what I have produced in order to resist the bug who had defamed me. So how can I resist the bug, or should I work with the bug? Am I going to work with the bug that had defamed me and deformed me and disabled me, in other words? Or should I resist the bug? That's the question I have that hasn't been answered, and hopefully at the end of the day there will be answers. So I'll just have to let it be for now and pray that there's answers from God for my birthday, for my life gift from God. Do I work with the stubborn and rebellious sinners and tyrants? Or do I resist them? Because the more I resist them, the more my life is threatened. So I've been on this for an hour now. In closing, as Maya Maria, old name, a new name, Mima, surname her Punch. Carefully putting everything together for looking at how they have defected me, deformed me, defamed me, and caused a disaster in my life, which I have not created. They created all of it. So these are the careful conditions of what I have identified as being a victim versus a villain in the village. My experience, my evidence counts for nothing, because I cannot answer the question yet. Do I resist a corrupt government, or do I work with the corrupt government in order to survive, in order to pray that there can be changes so that it's no longer corrupted, or changes in another type of version to attack my enemy, to to demonize, demoralize, and deplatform